Everyone keeps telling you you need a direct booking site, but what does that even mean?
We'll tell you the pros and the cons of your own direct booking site.
Hi, I'm Sarah Karakayan.
And I'm Annette Grant. And together we are
Thanks for visiting.
We've been hosting for well over a decade, welcomed tens of thousands of guests, and earned thousands of 5-star reviews.
Our portfolio continues to bring in over 1.5 million year over year, and supported not only by the industry's leading brands, but also some of the biggest media outlets.
And we're here to help you with your furnished rental.
What is a direct booking versus an OTA? Let's start off by saying what an OTA is, just in case you're not sure. Online travel agency. Know that word. You're going to hear it a lot if you're consuming any content about short-term rentals. What is an OTA? Think Airbnb, Booking.com, VRBO, anything, anywhere where you can book that you don't own. So what is a direct booking? You own the actual digital real estate in which the booking takes place. You have full control over it. You can change your terms and conditions. You can change your payment processor. You make all the rules. It is your world and everyone's playing by your rules.
The pros of direct booking. The first pro, but I think also like the most imperative, the biggest, is that you own this digital real estate. We all pump our chest and flex on our physical real estate. Well, your digital real estate is just as important. And what I love about a direct booking site is that digital real estate, that .com that you own. And it might not be a .com, it's just you own the domain name, because there's, a lot of other .me's, things out there now.
And let's talk about why this is valuable. So I'm gonna give you an example, but I'm sure this will spawn other ideas for you why this is valuable. But for example, this year I've helped someone sell their short-term rental, and I'm helping someone buy a short-term rental. I can tell you from the sales standpoint, when you can go to the marketplace and say, because here's the thing, your Airbnb account is not transferable. You cannot sign over your 100 5-star reviews and all that work and reputation you've built up for that property. It actually belongs to the host. And if you try to transfer it, that is a big no-no on Airbnb's terms and conditions, and they could shut the listing down. So assigning your Airbnb account to the buyer of your property ain't gonna happen. So then you go to a buyer of a property, and what are they buying? They're buying a home with some furniture, because there's no business attached to it, right? You don't have people who are on the books to come stay where you have control over those human beings that are coming, right? Their email addresses, their phone numbers, they book with you directly. Because once you move, then you have to be involved with your buyer if you want to still handle those bookings. It's messy, right? It's also, there's no value there. So with my buyer, he's looking to buy a short-term rental, he's very much interested in buying a property that is fully furnished and has its own website that is beautifully designed. It has bookings, that are forthcoming. So that's money that's going to be in his pocket.
It's a separate asset.
Yeah, in his pocket without having to work for it, and he can add to it. The home is a full-fledged business, right? That's where you add the value. So I just want to change your mindset too over why a website is valuable, because it enhances your short-term rental business. And actually, it makes it one. Control, complete control over your listing. Okay, why would control of your listing matter? Here's why it matters. You think I'm gonna say this and it's but that never happened to me. Hear me when I say it can happen to you. I'm actually getting myself nervous. I'm like, am I prepared enough? Airbnb has and can completely shut down your listing.
And sometimes accidentally.
For no reason.
We know hosts where there was a glitch in the system and their listings were offline for a few days. And so we just want you to be prepared, because you need to be able to reach out to people to be able to stay and book direct with you if the OTAs were to ban you or just remove you or accidentally remove your listings.
And hey, that story, he did get reinstated, but there are stories where they got taken off the platform because they violated some term that's super gray, right? For example, a Ring doorbell. So I know a host who has a Ring doorbell. They listed it just like they're supposed to, that they've got this recording Ring doorbell, but because it didn't have this specific verbiage that you're supposed to have, or that this Airbnb support guy said that you needed to have, they removed his listing. I don't remember if it ever got reinstated. So sometimes it's these things where you feel like you're being a thorough and compliant host on the platform, but what they say goes, and that goes to the next point of control, which is, let's say a guest acts in a way that violates your house rules. Well, you might think, oh, I made my house rules, it's a clear violation, like I should be either reimbursed or I shouldn't have to pay for this reservation in XYZ, whether it's like replacing something or painting something or fixing something. But at the end of the day, Airbnb dictates how that reservation is going to be panned out if it's booked on the platform, and they often side on the favor of the guest because it's both of our customers.
And this really, really came to light during COVID because it was literally a like snap of a fingers, flip of a switch where they refunded every single person, every single host, the reservation of the guests. And I mean, you can ask any host and they'll remember that exact day when they started just refunding all of the reservations. And that is because truly Airbnb owned those reservations, where other hosts that had a direct booking site were either pushing those reservations forward to future dates, or giving the guest a credit for future dates, or saying, hey, we're just gonna, it was like a deposit. It was until the dust settled and we all kind of figured out what was going on. But that key right there, that was not just one host, that was hosts everywhere that happened to. So that is something that is real, that happened, and that was really the rise of the direct booking at that point in time. Direct booking, you can make more money with just the fees involved with the OTAs. I mean, they need to get their cut, right? Because they are doing giant billion-dollar marketing initiatives. Not only are they doing billions of dollars in marketing, they are doing billions of dollars in payroll and development of their websites. They're doing the thing. They're out there, like everybody knows Airbnb, right? But you also, when you go into your reservations, they are also a large part of your fees involved. And the thing is, I can just share, those are probably never going to go down. Airbnb is a publicly traded company like all of Expedia, Booking, all of them. So the fees where they are right now, they're not gonna go anywhere but most likely up. And we can share, like we started at 3%, some of the listings are up to 15%. And that depends on your location in the world. It depends on if you have a PMS attached to your listing. So listen to those percentages I just said, anywhere from 3 to 15%. And when you're talking your profit margin on your business, that can be the difference in your profit margin.
So with your direct booking site, you don't need those fees because you've done your own work.
But you're not gonna be fee free.
Yeah, and I wanna say that too, like, because you savvy ones out there, I'm like, sure, Sarah and Annette, but you just pointed out how Airbnb does all this work to get all these people, how can I compete with that? And we get that. But again, you don't have a business if all of your bookings flow through Airbnb, a site that you don't own, okay? So I'm not saying to not use Airbnb, and I'm not saying that you need to be 100% independent of Airbnb, but you do have control over the fees, and you can make it more profitable for your guests to book directly with you, and you can make more money with that direct booking reservation. Not only could you make more money, or maybe the same, and I know there's some hosts out there like, well, Sarah, I'm making the same actually, right? But now you own that guest's information because you've done it in an ethical way and you're storing it in an ethical way. But now you're making your hosting business more valuable because we're thinking with the end in mind. If you ever want to sell, or you ever want to bring in a partner, or you want to grow your business, this all adds value to that business. And I really want that to sink in. And even though it's value that isn't realized until further down the road, you're all in this for the long haul, and that is really going to matter to your bottom line.
Sarah was just mentioning, adding value to your short-term rental business, and that is through your client base, your customer base. And so every person that comes to your direct booking site, even people that stay with you, you want to be collecting their email addresses. That's how you're going to reach back out to them. And this is where it gets really juicy, like the compounding effect of being able to have those repeat guests come back. We find a lot of hosts are very successful with their direct booking site once the OTAs have gotten the larger message out and they brought that guest into their home, and then they were able to invite them back via booking through their direct booking site. So that's where you can still utilize and leverage the OTAs, but then have them come through your direct booking site. But really, in this day and age, what's our number one way to outreach to people? It is through their email. So making sure people are visiting your site, getting their email addresses, even not only people that have stayed at your property, but any friends, family, people in your network. You want to be able to have that email list and send out those newsletters, those alerts to maybe a cancellation or a coupon code for, some dates that are still empty, but this is going to be a huge value for you. I know you're probably thinking right now, like, well, wait, Annette, how am I getting their email addresses? Because if they book on these OTAs, it's really that, they don't want you directly outreaching to the guests. So the way that you can acquire on the up and up their email is we use StayFi. All right, we'll make sure to link it below. But this is something that if you can install it in your home, it's a splash page. How do I want to describe StayFi?
Yeah,
exactly
so
this.
StayFi offers you the equipment needed to be an intermediate between your router for your Wi-Fi and
That's
the
what I'm looking
guest-facing platform. And so when you use the software in combination with StayFi's equipment, just like in a coffee shop, when
Yes.
a guest opens their laptop to get online and start getting to work at your property, they'll actually have to agree to your terms and conditions, and they're not going to use your Wi-Fi illegally, which is really important. But then you also get their first name and their email address before they can access your Wi-Fi.
So it's like a mixture of hardware and software. And here is the pro tip with StayFi. So normally, let's say maybe you have 10 people that are guests in your home, but there's only one person on the reservation. With StayFi, if everyone's gonna log into the Wi-Fi, you get each and every guest email, not just the original person that booked the reservation.
While we are big supporters of direct bookings, here are the cons of direct booking.
So let's talk about the investment involved. You are going to need a direct booking website. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to put the time and effort and financial backing to that. You're going to have to set up your own credit card processing. You are going to have to pay that credit card processing fee, no matter what. That normally is, again, don't quote me on this, you'll have to check, but around 3%. But there are other things that you're going to have to put into place. Like you're going to have to put in your own SOPs on taking those reservations, marketing. There's going to be a lot more involved, and this is probably going to be a little bit slower than that quick work of just listing your property on Airbnb.
There are some other investments you'll have to make when you build out your direct booking site. This depends on which property management software, which PMS you end up going with. Some of them have these features built in, but then you might pay more in that price. And if they don't have it built in, you're gonna have to pay that price with the individual software companies that offer that feature. For example, guest verification, right? So we use a company called SuperHog and their Know Your Guest product. This helps us make sure that the guests who are coming to stay with us, they are who they say they are. It's a very simple process that easily integrates with our booking process because they have a direct API connection. It's a fancy connection between their software and my property management software. Dynamic pricing. I make a lot of money using the software provided by Price Labs versus either doing it on my own or my property management.
Smart pricing.
Airbnb smart pricing. Even my property management software offers a form of dynamic pricing, but it's not as good as Price Labs. So I have to pay for Price Labs too. But at the end of the day, because I'm in this for a long haul, it's worth it for me. But I do want to make you aware as you're shopping for property management software, as you want to build out your direct booking site, to be cognizant of these additional fees and charges that you're going to have to accrue to really make it holistic. When you build a website, it's usually built on something like WordPress or Squarespace or Wix, right? And there's monthly fees involved there. Some of them have drag and drop features. Some things need to be full out designed by a designer, and this can cost you a wider range of dollar bills, up to $10,000 to have it all done for you in a custom manner, okay? That's a lot of work. It's a lot of investing up front, especially if you're not even sure where you want to take your hosting business. So the property management softwares have come up with a solution for us smaller hosts. Their property management software have what they call like an out-of-the-box website. Okay, so it is something that you can white label, and what white labeling means is it doesn't have to say the name of your property management brand. You can actually replace it with your logo. Like your guests will never necessarily know that it's an out-of-the-box website from your property management software. It will look like it's your, it is your website, it is your domain, so you'll have to buy, myhostingcompany.com or annetshostingbrand.me, whatever it is, you'll have to buy that, and then you'll connect that with your property management software, and they make that part so easy. And then you will have your own website that's powered by your property management software. Now, in a lot of these PMSs, you won't have the creativity of like moving things around or changing. Like you can put your colors in, you can put your logos in, but
very
other than
limited
that,
customization. You gotta pay for custom.
You're pretty set. There are some property management softwares out there that this is where they shine, and so they do offer some customization. So if that's important to you and you go out and you shop, there's a question that you can ask the property management company or property management software companies that you're interviewing. What is your out-of-the-box website like? Is it customizable at all? Is it additional fee, or is it built into the monthly price I'm paying to use your software? Other than that, if you get something that's built on something else like WordPress or Wix or something like that, you will have to work with a separate company and then use your property management software's booking widget on your booking page, and that's what powers the buttons and the calendars that pop up on your website. That'll all have to be integrated. So just to give you like a high-level understanding of the two options there, either out of the box via your PMS or fully customizable, but it's gonna be a much bigger investment.
What we want you to remember here is, the domain is a one-time purchase, but there is gonna be a monthly fee associated with your website management. So these property management softwares, to have them, it will be anywhere, let's say between like $30 to $150 per month per property. So there's a large fluctuation there on the price point. So that's where you want to do your research and do what's right for you and for your numbers.
If you build it, will they come? Depending on who you are and what you get excited about, this could be a pro to your direct booking site, or kind of like we mentioned in our list, it's kind of the con, because you do have to do some work here. So just because you have, whether it's a custom built site or an out of the box via your PMS site, you still have to do some work via SEO, search engine optimization. How is someone going to find your property if it's not on Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com? Okay, so right now, if this is new to you, I want you to go to any website that's selling anything. I don't care if it's a place to stay or if it's a product. And you'll notice when you get there, what you'll probably notice is you'll get there, and after a couple seconds, something will pop up, and it's going to give you something in exchange for your name and your email address. This is email marketing, right? And so you want to replicate this for your own business. Think about what you could give a potential traveler who is considering your property and or your area. What kind of value can you give them in exchange for their first name and their email address? Because otherwise, your whole marketing strategy is going to be based off of getting your guests who have come to stay with you to either refer you or to come back. But where you really make it as a short-term rental host is when you get new people who discover you online, kind of like out of nowhere. So how do they get to the site to see your pop-up, or get to the site to see all your amazing, beautiful photos and your great engaging copy? Those are the words on the website that keep people on your site and reading more. It's via search engine optimization. That's via writing new content on your website, ideally every week, but whatever that cadence is for you, every 2 weeks, every month, via a blog post.
And I want to share, this is something that you can do today, is test your own SEO, put in your city, like Columbus, Ohio, short-term rental, Myrtle Beach vacation, and you're gonna see like 9 times out of 10, the big dogs, Airbnb, Vrbo, they're gonna pop up. But I encourage you to think about anything your guest would be like word combination that they would put in to search to find a place in your area. And you'll start to see there will be direct booking sites that come up, and start to just take a look at what those word combinations are. How could you mirror those in your copy, in your website to show up like them? So that's where you just want to put yourself in your guest shoes and see what they're searching for, and how can those blog posts on your site make sure that the traffic is coming to you.
And I want you to think of this as an opportunity for you to, again, bring more value to your website, and think outside the box with these blog posts. So you're like, well, what am I gonna write about? But I mean, there's so much. Think of yourself as a travel brand. Okay, so what are the top 10 things to do in Branson, Missouri, or the best roller coasters to ride in Branson, Missouri, or top 5 hikes in Branson, Missouri, top 5 hikes to do in the winter in Branson, Missouri. See, like, you can take big topics and then do like sub blog posts on them. Like, it runs the gamut. And then here's a hot tip for you. if you can partner with travel bloggers or travel influencers who can link to your website and
people
you can
that
link,
are already owning those keyword searches.
right. So a lot of travel bloggers are already creating content about top restaurants in Branson, Missouri, or
Top
like
stays,
best
top 10
Airbnbs in Branson, Missouri. Find out if those travel bloggers work with individual hosts and see if there's a win-win scenario where you could be one of their top 10 you better believe that you could buy your way onto some of those top 10 lists. So really think creatively. And so if you love that creative aspect of running your business and writing content for your site, this is a really fun way to make sure that you are searchable on Google.
Just like we're trying to get the traffic to the site, to actually get people to book with you, you need that trust. That is something that the OTAs really have in their favor because we have all of the reviews from our past guests. People feel comfortable with air cover and that if they need to change their reservation, Airbnb will have their back. So this is where you're gonna have to build up your own trust with this traffic that you're bringing to your website. And one of the best ways to do that is through Google reviews. What's so cool though is all of your Google reviews don't have to come from people that have solely booked on your direct booking site. You can have people that have stayed with you and booked through an OTA. You can kindly ask them to leave you a review also on Google. That way you can start to build up those Google reviews and that trust with these other guests that will just be finding you through the SEO.
And the cool thing is a lot of your property management softwares will offer some sort of widget or add-on that allows you to add your Google reviews to your website, whether it's a pop-up or this little thing that hangs out at the bottom of the screen. It's kind of like this, like, hey, guest who doesn't know who we are, here's how you can trust us. Here are our Google reviews. They could click on it and actually go to your Google My Business account and see it, but it's also right there on your website, just like on Airbnb, you would see those 5-star reviews because a guest who books with you direct can leave you a review, but you have control over those reviews, and so they're less trustworthy. But when it's on Google, you don't have control because Google does kind of, own those, but that's okay because you have your own direct booking website, and these guests are taking the time to leave you their feedback there, and then you're just kind of putting this badge of honor on your website because right now, Google is a trusted site for consumer feedback. And so this is a really great way for you to diversify your 5-star reviews and honest guest feedback about what you're offering within your products. There's a lot to consider when you're figuring out when's the best time to set up your direct booking site and where you want to go with your hosting business. And what's the best place to start? To know who you are as a host, to know who you are as a business owner. Like, I mean that at your core, what's important to you? Is it the details like analytics and reports? Is it offering extra services to your guests and going above and beyond with anticipating their needs? Is it about being the biggest and the best and you want to scale huge? Knowing who you are is the best way for you to decide what you want your business to become, and that will then help you dictate, what property management software you want to use. So take our hosting style quiz. It is based on the DISC assessment of personality styles. Once you get your result, we'll kind of help you understand who you are as a host, what's most important to you, and then we'll absolutely help you take that next step in deciding where you're going to take your direct booking business.
We are here to help you. So if you have a direct booking site, put it in the comments. Give yourself, that's some marketing. We're all hosts here. We're all traveling. We might want to stay with you. So in the comments, put your direct booking site. And with that,
make sure you hit that subscribe button and don't stop your learning here. We want you to watch our favorite apps that we use in our hosting business and the big mistakes that you cannot afford to make in your hosting business. So watch those right now. I am Sarah Karakayan.
I'm Annette Grant, and together we are
Thanks for visiting.